Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are The Culture. Hi, and welcome to the show today. I'm your host, Jessica Garrett Motkins, and joining us from Florida Conservation Voters is D'Bria Bradshaw. She's the Quality Control Deputy Director, Democracy, for all Florida. Welcome to the show, D'Bria.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me.
Absolutely. When we received your press information about the wonderful things that you all are doing, we knew we had to have you on the show. Let's start with a brief understanding of what is Democracy for All Florida.
So, Democracy for All Florida is a program of Florida Conservation Voters Education Fund. We focus on 5 key areas: democracy, water, land, climate, and clean energy. We basically work to improve access to and trust in our democracy for communities that our country has traditionally left out of the decision making process.
So that is a boatload of responsibilities. How are you all able to balance it all? Is there someone that's over every specific program, or how does that work?
So, Florida Conservation Voters is broken up into separate entities. So, Democracy for All Florida, which is the program that I work under, we're based in Miami, and our focus right now is redistricting. Next year to be voter education, voter civic engagement, different things like that, and definitely getting the youth involved too. We have a youth program called Defy, and then we have in our Tallahassee office, which is our main office. That is where all of our leads. That's where they work out of, and they work with the legislators up at the Capitol, just lobbying for different opportunities that address the 5 different areas that we work under. And then we have an office in Orlando, which is our CHISPA office, and they work trying to get the same opportunities and fighting for democracy for Hispanic Americans up in the Central Florida area.
And what would you say your mission would be for Democracy for All?
So our mission is basically, we are building a more just and equitable democracy that is responsible to all people and that will protect the planet. Basically, that's definitely what we strive to do in all of our programming.
And that leads us to where we are right now. And we all knew that this was coming after the census was complete. We knew there would come a time where we would be looking at redistricting. Can you please explain why it's important for your organization to focus on redistricting as well as education?
So what we've seen, which a lot of organizations have seen, with this past election and the census, a lot of people don't understand what the census has to do with voting rights or, how redistricting plays a part in our everyday lives. So we're very big on education, civic engagement and education. So our workshops strive to educate communities of color specifically on what is going on in the redistricting process. The last time that they went to redraw the lines, the Florida Supreme Court threw it out and they had to go back and restart. The last time we did the census. So we don't want that to happen again. We want all Miami-Dade County citizens informed on what's going on as these lines are redrawn, and we just want them to understand exactly what redistricting is. Which is basically when we redraw districts so each has the same number of residents, and that's very important. You don't want your neighbor across the street to be in a different district from you because that's how the lines were drawn. It's really important to hear what these communities have to say, understand what they feel their community embodies, and then move forward with redrawing the lines.
And then let's not just move over that because it is so important for the viewers, our viewers, to really understand what redistricting means as it relates to a voter and how it can impact us. Can you just touch on that one more time? Because I think there may be a disconnect between how a district is district and the person who governs over them is elected. Just go into that a little more, please.
So I'll break it down like this: redistricting versus gerrymandering, which we hear that all the time, gerrymandering, and a lot of people are like, "What is that?" So gerrymandering basically allows representatives to choose their voters, and redistricting allows voters to choose their representatives. And what I mean by that is when you redraw lines, you have to make sure communities stay together, like I stated previously. Before with gerrymandering, a lot of times whoever is over a specific area, they definitely want their constituents to support them so they continue to get reelected. And that's not always going to be the case. It's important to have a fair representation. And why it's so important for minorities to understand the redistricting process is because usually we only make up 1/4 of each district. So it's important to have our voices heard when we're going out and voting at the local level, the state level, and of course the national level.
And tell me this, do we have a say in the redistricting process?
So right now we are working with the Fair Districts Coalition. And with that organization, we're basically asking everyone that attends our workshops between now and December to send an email, which we provide a link. It's already a pre-made up email where you can send this email to your representatives and just to let them know that when you're in these redistricting meetings at the local and state levels, please make sure that everything is going smoothly and make sure that they are fair. So we also are promoting our local community districting meetings that are happening as well. So we'll be promoting those events on our social media platforms, just so everyone knows, citizens know that they can go to these meetings and hear and see the proposed maps that are being drawn. And if they're in a certain area where they may have been in District 1 and now they're being pushed in District 2, go have your voices heard and let these commissioners and representatives for the Citizens Advisory Board know this is not what we want. And they take all of these things into consideration. They have moments in the meetings where the public does have opportunity to speak. So I think it's very important that people not only understand what's going on with redistricting, but they also understand that they can go and have their voices heard.
That is very important because many times we think that we just have to succumb to decisions that are made. But just to know that through organizations like yours, you do have an opportunity to be educated and stand up for yourself. You all have an event coming up next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
So we're excited to host our second community districting workshop. We held one in September with the Dream Defenders, which we had an amazing turnout. So this time around, we are partnering with the Miami-Dade Council of NPHC, which is the National Pan-Hellenic Council, which is comprised of the Black Greek letter organizations, as well as the Miami-Dade branch of NAACP and the South Dade branch of NAACP. So we are expecting another great turnout, having all of their members, family, friends, and people of influence in their circles to come out and just to learn about what's going on as far as redistricting and what we can do as a community to make sure our communities stay together.
Exactly. And so that's on Wednesday. It's the 27th. It's a virtual event.
Yes.
Tell our viewers how they would be able to sign up. Is there a fee involved?
No, this event is completely free. You can watch it on Facebook Live through the Democracy for All Florida Facebook page, as well as on Zoom if you sign up on the link that is on our Facebook page, along with the flyer as well. So those are the two ways that you will be able to tune in. We're just encouraging everyone just to come out and to learn and to walk away understanding that everyone has an opportunity to have their voices heard in our democracy.
And then what time does it start?
It starts at 6:30 p.m.
On Wednesday? Is
Wednesday,
my memory correctly?
October 27th. Yes.
Okay, Wednesday, October 27th. They can stream it live on your Facebook page,
Yes.
and it is at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 27th.
6:30.
6:30. See?
Yes.
See? And how about we just drop the link? We'll drop the link in the comments below. And for those of you who will be watching Video Mix TV. We will make sure that you have the link to that as well. Maybe Basil can add that on our stream so that you're able to log in and register. And give me any other details as to what we can expect on next Wednesday, with especially with all of these powerhouse partners that you have. Will they be providing any different information that voters and activists need to be aware of, or is it strictly on redistricting?
So this event is strictly on redistricting. We're all ramping up for what we know will be an exciting 22 midterm election cycle. So we're excited to partner with civic engagement minded organizations like the National Panhellenic Council groups, NAACP, of course, a historic organization, and their two Miami branches. So we're just excited to partner with them. It is going to be solely focused on redistricting and how it will possibly impact our voting rights moving forward. And just the simplest thing of where you'll vote at for the midterm elections can be changed due to the new redistricting that happens at the end of this year. So we just want to make sure that our communities are engaged and that they are informed and educated so that everyone knows what's going on moving forward.
Now, D'Bria, you just said something to me. You said the redistricting will be in effect at the end of this year, calendar year 2021.
So they are working, the Miami-Dade redistricting committee is working to have their proposed maps in by the end of this year. So that's why we're focused on doing so many workshops to educate and get as many people out and have their voices heard at these upcoming meetings. They've already started. Different districts are hosting their own community district meetings, tailored specifically to their specific districts. And our workshops are kind of a general view, so people kind of understand before they even go to their specific district meeting what redistricting is and what they can ask for.
That is huge because we're in October. The calendar
Yes.
year is almost up. And I want to
Yes.
say that you're the first organization that I've even heard of that has offered such a platform to educate us. What what do you think is going on? Why hasn't anyone been talking about this? Or am I just in the dark?
Um, I wouldn't say you're in the dark because you have this platform and you're in organizations that are known for civic engagement. I think redistricting isn't, for lack of a better term, as sexy as voting. So people, we fill out our census. Some people don't even understand what the census is. I've worked as a poll inspector for the last few elections here in Miami-Dade County. And with this last election, people were bringing in their census with them. They thought that was a part of the voting process too. So I think a lot of people don't even really understand what the census does and how that impacts how we redistrict our communities. So I don't think it's anything to do with anyone being in the dark. It's just that it needs to be explained better how the census plays into redistricting, how redistricting plays into our voting rights.
Well, I tell you, I'm so thankful that you've been able to come on and give us this information. Make sure that all of you sign up to participate in the Redistricting 101 that takes place next Wednesday. And D'Bria, give us any closing thoughts that you may have or anything that you have that's up next for your organization.
So as I said, this is our second redistricting workshop that'll be happening in October, and then we plan to round out the year with 2 to 3 more redistricting workshops and listening sessions. And with the listening sessions, it's basically us asking community members, what does their community stand for? What are the lines that are drawn that they think from what street to what street is your community? What is the culture of your community? How do you all get together and make decisions as a whole? Do you have high voter turnout for your local elections? These are all the things that we want Miami-Dade County residents to think about as we host these different workshops and listening sessions, and just come in with an open mind. And we hope that they walk out understanding more about how our democracy works and how everything plays a part in in the other. So like I stated before, how the census plays a part into redistricting maps, how redistricting maps play a part into our voting rights, and of course how our voting rights play a part in how we go out and exercise our rights to vote and have elected officials that represent the culture and the ideals of our different communities.
Excellent, excellent. You were able to pull it all together and for it to make sense on how it all intertwines. So thank you so much again for coming on the show and educating us. And we just encourage all of our family at the culture to participate with the activities that you have going on. Please also, D'Bria, keep us informed on the next steps, whatever else you have, so that we can let our family know here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to all of you watching, don't forget to join us tonight at 6 p.m. right here on YouTube Live and Facebook Live for another edition of My 2 Cents. And always set your clock for a good time. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a good one.
The Culture is produced and owned by the Culture Media Group and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent. All rights